Every Sunday you will call your mother. Oh, hell no.
Welcome to another episode of Bitches in the Kitchen.
I'm Janet.
I'm Chris, and it is now finally February. I saw a funny thing on Facebook yesterday. It's like so many days in November. You know how they do the whole 30 count? And then there's 6,284 days in the month of January. It was a really funny post. Anyway, it's February here, finally. And we're moving onwards towards spring. I hope you all have had a wonderfully mild winter, which we actually have had. So I can't complain about that. It's dreary and gray, but we've had a mild winter.
I hate February.
It's one day longer this year than it is every other February. What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to check in.
Yep, that's what we're going to do. So the month of January, if you watched our previous videos for all of January, we talked all about things surrounding the new year. You know, the getting healthy, the meal planning, the New Year's resolutions, and those kinds of things. So this is our version of checking in. How did January go for you?
I feel like I need a clipboard. Hello, Miss Lynch. Just checking in.
Just checking in.
How are you doing today?
How was your January?
How was your January? Exactly. Don't you think it would be well advised to do that like every so often anyway for yourself?
Absolutely.
Once a month, once a week, once a day. No, once a day is probably too much.
Never get anything done. Oh God, did I do it? Did I not? Oh my God, should I be doing something else? Check. No, that might be a little much.
More than once a year. How about more than once a year?
If you are accountable to something, you're a whole lot more successful in doing this. In other words, checking in with yourself, and if everything's the same as it was 6 weeks ago, it's not so much of a check-in. So I would say that you should have some kind of accountability, whether you write it in a book, whether you share it with a friend.
I have no problem looking at my writings, my notebook, and saying epic fail. Like,
well, you're you.
I only know how to be me.
So here's the thing about something I said. I said this at the very end of the year. I said it directly to Janet. I've referred to it not less than 10 times since that happened.
Ready.
I will not relive 2019 and 2020.
Released arrow.
There are a lot of things that I can look back in 2019 and go, yep, I am not going to do that again. I'm not going to share a whole bunch of that with you guys because a lot of it's very personal, but I will not relive 2019 again. Now, what does that mean?
Well, that's really quite a tease, Chris, because you're not going to tell anybody, and yet you're just not going to repeat it. Well, and now you're going to say, so what does that mean? Well, what the hell are we talking about? The point is, really, my point, if I might add, if you need to rechart your course, if you will, reprogram your GPS, whatever stinking analogy you want to use for a change agent, acknowledge that obviously some things are just going to be way easier than others.
Sure.
They all have different priorities. They all have different weights.
Like me saying I'm not going to relive 2019, my version's going to look very different than everybody else's.
Yeah, but how do you figure out where to go first?
I think you have to prioritize like you do anything else in life. What is the number one thing you can't see yourself repeating? What is the number one thing that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of? The definition of insanity is doing the same exact thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Now, it sounds really dumb when you say the statement, but how many times do we do it? How many times have I done it?
That's like you exiting my neighborhood the exact same way, expecting, well, actually.
She finds it to be hilarious that I drive the same exact way out of her neighborhood, which is the longest possible way, by the way. I don't turn my car around. I don't back up. I have gone the same exact way for 3 years.
To our point, it doesn't make the list because it doesn't bother you, even though for me it would be like, dude, like you probably should just be more efficient in that. This is just an example of stupid shit that could be easy to change. But it doesn't even
bother me to change it.
Right. It doesn't even show up on the list.
Food and exercise and taking better general care of ourselves is a biggie. In particular, the first part of the year, that seems to be the number one.
So this would be that moment, because now we're in February. There is no shame. There's no judgment, just as an example. So I wanted to clean up food and I wanted to clean up exercise. How am I doing? How did I do? How did I keep track of what it was that I did? Did I write down the days that I did work out? Did I put an unhappy face on the days that I didn't? Whatever your system is, now's a good time to check in on that easy stuff. And with
But wait a minute.
No
Don't
condition.
say easy. It's not easy for everybody.
Well, it's easy to measure.
Okay.
It's easy to measure, and that's where I was going with that. Some things are just easier to measure progress.
Which goes to the next point. Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. That's true. It's very quantitative. You can say I exercised 3 days a week or I didn't. It's very black and white.
It's measurable.
It's measurable. Other things that aren't quite so easy. Relationships. That one's not quite as easy to measure. So how do you check in on that one?
You know, we've talked about this before too. Our kids. You know, my son is currently living in Texas, and that's the first time we've been separated by an airplane trip exclusively. I'm going to have to get better about that particular relationship.
Sure.
I don't know how to be a long-distance mother of a 26-year-old man who has jobs and responsibilities and relationship challenges. In January, I failed miserably because he was moving, because I knew he was transitioning in a job, and I'm of the mindset that he will reach out to me, but I don't think that's true anymore. He's busier than I am. And it doesn't have to be rigid. Every Sunday you will call your mother. Oh, hell no.
If you are that person that calls your mother every Sunday, more power to you.
I shouldn't have said that. So that's a very generic, easy example of a relationship shift. That's, you know, that's
of course,
that's an easy one. And there's got to be some other area. Like, what if you sit down right now and say, you know what, girls, that's actually a really interesting concept, because I'm not going to wait until next January 1st to assess what's going on. And you're right. There are some things I'd like to do, and I could do better also with checking in. So, like, really, what's on your list? Because it could be something as simple as I'm going to fire the cleaning lady and vacuum once a week on my own. God, that's an awful thought. Not everything needs to be changed, but this is a good time. What is working for you in your world? And can you honestly identify some things that aren't working for you? And if they're not working for you, can you at least hang on to one thing that would make you feel as though you are instigating change, so that you don't repeat the same dysfunctional behavior or job or relationship or food habit or any habit? Something that you can do to honestly figure out what doesn't work and then make change.
Hey, this is life.
And it's never too late. Like, just because it's February.
Screw January. Either you did or you didn't do something. Doesn't really matter at this point. Now we're in February. Today's a new day. Make a change if you really are in the place to make a change.
Roll with the changes.
Here we go.
God, this really is a beautiful glass.
Yes, it is.
All right. Have a great day. Go make change if it's needed to be made. They all have different weights. They all investment-wise are different.
What Greek is Janet speaking? So,
what Greek?
Well, yes, let's break it down and make it really simple.
English.